Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Rangers Journal podcast. I'm your host, Scott Mackay, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ricky and Tomo tonight. Ricky, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, Scotty boy. Tomo, good evening, pal. Looking forward to tonight. Bit more positive for yesterday's result as it was post Aberdeen game. So at least I'm hoping to come on this and not come off with a 2 downbeat as I did after the Aberdeen pod. So yeah, looking forward to tonight, guys.
Good stuff. Tomo, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Scott. Evening, Ricky. Yeah, looking forward to having a chat about the game yesterday. And as Ricky says, a lot more upbeat than the Aberdeen game. And I think a few positives came out of yesterday that gives us a bit of a glimmer of hope going forward.
Hope so. And we're going to have a wee look into that glimmer of hope and see where it's came from. Basically, I think that's what we'll do in the night's pod. But first of all, this is brought to you, proudly sponsored by Premier VPN. Please head on over to premiervpn.net for all your internet needs. It's also brought to you in association with Manon Inverclyde, which is a suicide prevention service in the Inverclyde area, but anybody can get in touch if they need some help in their mental health. Ricky, I'll just come to you first. Give me some general thoughts on the game yesterday.
I think the way the game started, it was all what we probably predicted, quite tight. I was quite pleased with the position we had, but so wasteful in the final third. Going up to the half-time, Dessers was just absolutely awful. He's just not connecting anything. Lawrence just wasn't anywhere near about him most of the time, and it just leaves the guy isolated. So that for me was disappointing. But overall, I was reasonably pleased. Although, clearly it wasn't as good as what it should have been against Motherwell. But then going into the second half, and certainly the way the game progressed right to the 90 minutes, we were getting better and better and better. And we finished that game, I thought, as good as we've played all season, albeit when Tav and Dissers went off. We replaced those two with two decent players, and Rangers were a far, far better team with those two lads, Sterling and Danilo. And Danilo, for me, in his short sort of a 20-minute sort of cameo, proved that boy is a decent player. And if we can get him fit and playing for 90 minutes consistently, we've got a player there. And at last, we've got somebody that can maybe score goals for us, because that's certainly what we're lacking in the final third, and it's killing us, guys.
Ricky, what did you make of Diamandi when he came on yesterday after Lawrence went off?
Well, for me, Diamandi, I'm in the kind of, I'm not too sure camp with Diamandi. I think he can show glimmers of a decent player. But at the same time, for me, I personally don't believe he's a 10. I don't think he's a 6, because he's not, he's always wanting to get forward from that hold. He's not a Raskin or a Barron for me. So he could go in there and stand in for one of those two. If one was injured, perhaps I wouldn't have a problem with that. But to play him as a 10, I think it's just hanging the boy out to dry, because it's not his position. He's a number 8. It's as simple as that. And I think in the sort of a system like Clement insists on with the 4-2-3-1, you need a 10 to for that formation to be fluent. Because you're getting somebody closer to Dessers in to get involved with the game. Diamandi's not that man. I haven't got a problem with his effort. I just think the guy's out of position and sometimes looks lost. He had some good points yesterday, but again, I just don't think he's in the formation. We're getting the best out of him. Not in that formation that Clement's playing at the moment. Anyways, Diamandi is not a 10. Hadji would have been a better player to come on for me, but is Hadji fit? He's not had a lot of football, so Clement sees this in training, and obviously that's the reason why he's brought Diamandi on. But the jury's out on Diamandi for me, certainly under that formation, Paul.
That's a fair analysis, mate. That's a fair summary. Tomo, how are you feeling after that game yesterday?
Yeah, as I say, a little bit more hopeful. And I think for me, the main thing to come out of it was the actual fight that the players showed after the Aberdeen game on Wednesday. We obviously go 1-0 down. Things could really have got toxic. And, at some point on fans' pages and in the stands, there was a lot of pressure on the players. But second half, they came out and, you know, dominated, and they got the win. So for me, that was a massive positive. And also Clement bringing off Dessers, but more importantly, bringing off Tav when he wasn't playing well. He hasn't just shifted him to right wing and brought someone else on. He's actually removed him and brought someone into his position. That's a big call for the manager. We know Tav hasn't been playing his best, but Clement has still been playing him. So for him to bring him off is a massive call for the manager, because if we end up losing, you know, there'll be people out there going, well, why'd you bring him off? He could have done something, etc., etc. So I think for me, those things are really positive, that Clement's willing to make the changes, because we thought that he was a bit stubborn, wasn't going to make changes, wasn't going to change tactics, formations, etc. Well, certainly the fight and spirit from the players. And the goals that we scored just shows what happens when we get the ball down and we play quick football. We'll get the ball forward quickly. There were two very good goals that we scored. So like I say, there are positives there going forward. We just need to hope that we can stick with them and don't just regress back to what we have been.
You made some good points here, Tom. You made some good points. For me, I don't think Clement is stubborn in terms of his personality, his formation, his style of play, if there is one, and his system. He's very stubborn with. He's not up for changing. We've seen him last season when he benched Goldson, that he showed that he had the cojones, if you like to call it, to do it. I don't think he's scared of making a decision. I think this probably is going to be the beginning of the end of James Tavernier. I think he's rolling within his squad. Is going to get changed to a bit part player now. So I think that's all they can offer. With the durability of Sterling as well, you don't really know how much is going to be, how reliable he's going to be in terms of fitness. I just want to bring up something first, and it's I want to have a chat with you about the midfield three, Ricky. The reason I was asking you about Diamonde is that I don't think I see. So this is going towards the second goal. So Motherwell have got an overload on the right-hand side. Rangers retrieve the ball, get it through Raskin. Raskin feeds the ball to Diamonde, who then spreads it wide to Czerny, and Connor Barron makes a great run through Middeley Park. The midfield three looked a lot more fluid. The reason I was asking about Diamonde is I don't think he was playing as a 10 yesterday. I think it was more of, right, get the 10 closer to the midfield or make him more of an 8, however you want to break it down tactically. I mean, I'm not the wisest with this kind of stuff, but to me, there seemed to be a lot more cohesion in the Middeley Park, didn't there?
Yeah, no, there was, because this is what I'm trying to get at, the fact that Diamonde, in a modern sort of a game, whether it's a 6 to 8 to 10, his favourite position, you can see it a mile away, is the number 8 position. So he's a box-to-box midfielder, if you like. I see Hadji as a type of number 10, somebody who's both feet, intricate, skillful, sees a pass, he's quick in and around that little area. I don't mean quick as in 50, 10-yard sprint. I'm on about quick mentally, quick with his feet, and he can see a pass and he just introduces that striker into a chance. That's the way I look at a number 10, a tidy, clever little player. But he's not necessarily bomb bursting all over the park. Well, your Diamonde does do that. He's box to box. He's a box to box midfielder. Hence why, again, he's not a 6, because he likes to get forward. He likes to energise the play. And you're absolutely right, Scotty. That slide shows the three of them there together. And when they were playing together, our midfield's a lot more compact, which is fine. But you're isolating your striker because you haven't got your 10. So what formation is he trying to do? What is he trying to play? If you're going to play with an isolated striker, 2 wide men, you need somebody, i.e. the 10, playing with that striker. Unless it's Morelos who can hold the ball up, boss, the 2 centre halves, the left back, the right back, whatever side the play is going down, and hold the ball up. Dessers can't do that. So this is where it confuses me with his formation. Right. I haven't got a problem with Diomande, but I just don't think we've found the correct position for the lad to play in. Clearly, for me, Raskin, and I think for all to see on current form, Raskin and young Barron are absolutely fantastic. They're great energy, fast, they bustle, they nip, they harass, their timing's good, they're not scared to tackle. Wee Barron will tell MD off, if they've made a mistake. So, the two of them are going to be a good mainstay for us if we can keep both of them fit. Who plays in front of him remains to be seen, but I don't think it's going to be long term. When we get Cortez back, it'll be Bajrami will play in front of the two of those if they're all fit. And I think that's how he'll get his formation and his system that he wants to play when he gets Bajrami into that 10 role with a decent striker. Because no matter how good, that could be Lionel Messi in at that 10 role, still when you make Dessers look any better. Do you know what I mean? So it's a conundrum for him at the moment. We've bought Diomande for £4.5 million, so we need to try and get him into that team somehow. But I'm not convinced he'll be a starter once all our players are fit.
To me, it looks like that I don't think the 10 role's been working, so I think it's been adjusted to either make not a flat 3 in midfield, but you've seen the runs that Connor Barron was making yesterday. Gets the assist for the first Dessers goal, and that's done by him making that run. It's breaking the lines, it's getting into the box. And for me, I think Diomande really, really suited this role yesterday because he was able to. They three cause all sorts of carnage in that area of the pitch there. Diomande spreads the ball to Czerny, who then, like we can see in this slide, who then progresses with the ball, feeds in by Rami, who obviously goes on and scores. You've got Danilo, who's completely different to Dessers, and Danilo's making a run into space and pulling the defenders away. I don't think he's trying to play with an isolated striker, but I suppose what I'm getting at, Tom, I'll come to you with this one, is that yesterday looked more like a kind of 4-4-3-3 to me. I don't know if you would agree.
I totally agree with you. And I'll go back to when we had Ryan Jack. When he was playing, he was seen as more of a defensive midfielder in front of the back four. But he would get into the box as well at times. And I think that's what we saw from Connor Barron yesterday, being that little bit more going forward, being a bit more adventurous. And I think you're right that with Diomande. I don't think we have the player for that 10 role at the minute. I've got to be brutally honest with you as well, Ricky. It didn't seem to work when we had Campbell. It doesn't work with Lawrence. He hasn't got the legs to do it. And we just seem to be a man down. We don't have I think someone said it, we don't have the luxury of being able to just have someone whose sole job it is there to chip in with a goal every now and then. We need everyone working hard. So I've been saying, if things aren't going right, get that midfield as a type 3 and have basically the wide forwards and the striker as a main threat, and then the midfielders basically taking it in turns to go up and support. I think that's the way it needs to be. This whole just having a number 10 there, until we get the player that can actually do the job, get the ball with their back to goal, turn, and get it through, we're going to be having the same conversations. And certainly when Danilo comes on, you look at his movement for the second goal, he takes away 2 Motherwell players to leave Bajrami in that space. And that's good, intelligent centre-forward play. He knows he's not going to get the ball from the position he's in, makes a move, and we get the winning goal.
Yeah, definitely. It just seemed to me yesterday as if the team looked more cohesive in an attacking setup in the second half. And it's the most cohesive I've probably seen all season. I think it's fair. Seeing Jeff Day overloading on the left-hand side by Drami, cutting in. I thought Jeff Day, even though he was a bit daft at a goal in terms of I thought Butland had come out to collect it and they started to run away, but I thought Jeff Day was brilliant yesterday. The shot, obviously, that the keeper managed to tip onto the post. For me, it was absolutely excellent going forward, solid enough defensively, bar the goal. So you had that kind of relationship down the left-hand side with Bajrami coming in, Jeff Day hitting the byline, and then you had when Sterling come on, obviously for Tav, I thought the right-hand side looked a lot better as well. Czerny was able to come in, play more as an inside forward. Dessers was getting up and down the pitch. Ricky, it just looked to me, we spoke about the midfield. It just looks to me as if yesterday it looked as if everything maybe started to click a wee bit. Or am I getting too far ahead of myself?
No, you're absolutely right, Scotty. I thought we finished the game extremely well. The second half in particular was very good from Rangers, especially when Tavernier went off the park. I don't know whether the players have gave up in Tav as well. I mean, his first touch in the first half was shocking. You could argue the Aberdeen goal, could have just put it out the park for a corner. He's just lost his legs now. And when Sterling come on, we just looked a far, far better cohesive unit. Everybody was, on the same page, if you like. And I thought we played really, really well. And, we just dominated that. We had 23 shots on goal yesterday. Almost 70% of the possession. I know we should be getting to it. We've got a big wage bill compared to Motherwell. Let's not get away from this. But, it could have went another way. End of the first half. The team get booed off at half time. But going back to Jeff to Scotty, what he was doing for that goal is, I personally think the boy obviously never knew the Motherwell player was there, but I genuinely think he ran away to give himself the option, thinking that Burton was coming for that ball. It just looked really, really bad in the boy, but I think he was just generally thought, right, I'll get in a good position here, and I'll take the ball and let's get the ball forward. That was his thought. He wasn't running away because he was crapping it from the cross coming in. It's just the mistake happened, but the boy did play well. But you know what excites me about him? I think what a good option for us was when Ridvan gets back and him playing a bit more further forward in that kind of left side of the midfield. The Cortez, him sort of, is an option with Ridvan as a left back, depending on the way he comes back, because obviously he's quite injury prone as well. That to me is quite an exciting option. Two youthful players who never stop working. You would then have that in the right way, with Sterling, Czerny, who's come on to a really, really good game to get Danilo back, Hadji back in the team, Bajrami into his natural position. With Raskin and Barron playing particularly well and getting a good understanding now. A bit ironic, when we talk about the two centre-halves, mind you, because, he had an option to bring Proper off when Ballingham went down with his cramp. And he put on Casa instead. That's a bit of a statement, isn't it? And I think I said to Tom last time we were on the pod, I'm not too sure, but it's a bit weird when you look at the player who Robin Proper is the exact same player as Ben Davis, who we let go on loan to Birmingham. We've bought a player like for like. There's no difference in those players whatsoever, but somebody has managed to send Ben Davis on loan to Birmingham and spend over £1 million on a player that's identical to him in every way. So that was a bit of a bizarre one. So I'm not too sure where we're going with this now, because for me, Casa looks very, very comfortable as one of the two centre halves. So maybe that's the way ahead. It'll be Suter with Balogun. Maybe Balogun as a third choice, but with Casa as the other centre half. It certainly doesn't look as if it's going to be Proper, does it?
Nope. I think Proper may come back in on Thursday right enough for the European games. I think he's suited to the European matches. It's the physicality of the league. It seems to be the problem for him. Tomo, I don't know if I'm being a bit too positive or happy clapping the night, so to speak. Obviously, I've mentioned about Dete flying up and down the line. Bajrami gets on his score sheet. Czerny looks like a man possessed. Danilo come on, get minutes. Casa, when he come on, the defensive line was able to go higher than when Balogun was on. I think that's fair to say. So therefore, we're more compact and we're boxing Motherwell in. I don't know if I've went complete. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if I've went complete 360 on this team, because the other night I was giving them no hope in hell, but an improved display, probably best second half performance we've seen all season. We look as if we've got goal threats about the team. Am I getting too far ahead of myself?
Well, first of all, mate, if you went a 360, that's a full circle, so you'd be back to where you started. So it's a 180. It's a 180. All right, just for future reference. All right.
I blame the school.
We're also a very educational pod here at the Rangers Journal. So, no, as I say, I don't think things have been as bad as made out, but at the same time, I don't think they're as good as what they could be. There needs to be improvement. But we've said it for how long? Too many players are injured for too long, and this is why we're seeing the likes of Bajrami out on the left when we know he'll be better inside, or he'll be more involved when he's inside. Ricky has said we've spent $2 million on a centre back who potentially looks fourth choice. I mean, poor Balogun, he's 107 years old and he's running around Hampden, chasing after Motherwell. Sunday afternoon, he should be having a roast dinner, watching a bit of the Antiques Roadshow or something, falling asleep on his couch. And we've got him starting games. So a whole lot of things. But like you say, there are positives there that we've... Casemiro has looked good. He looked a little bit poor against Aberdeen, but he's playing left back. When he's had those couple of chances at centre back, he's looked very comfortable. Sterling has got the legs to play right back and should probably be given that opportunity there, I think. And I said it before, I didn't think Cherney was as bad as the criticism that he was getting. I thought he was having decent spells, and then he started adding goals to his game, which has really made a difference to his confidence. And up front, Danilo, if we can keep him fit, it'll be like a brand new signing, because I thought he looked like a really good player when we signed him. Good movement, good touch. Finishing was a little bit wayward, but hopefully he can stay fit and put pressure, because for all the goodwill in the world with Dessers, he's not the player we need. And Sunday just summed him up, the chances he missed and then the goal he scored. It was a lovely finish. It was a really well taken finish. And then you see the chances he missed and you're just like, what is going on here? We need our number 9 to be putting away those chances. Don't want to harp back to the Aberdeen game, but he misses a big chance when it's 1-1. And that's the difference between winning and losing games and titles. And we need our striker to be putting them away. But I do think there are shoots of positivity to have there, mate.
Aye, definitely, mate. Definitely. Just need to hope that Danilo can stay fit. Ricky, I'm going to come to you on your pal. Tomo briefly mentioned Dessers there, and Danilo. And Doug's done as a slide where that's just an example where Cherney gets a pass, it's perfectly set for Bajrami. Dessers barges in front and ends up jumping out of the way of the shot. Obviously, Dessers and Danilo, now for your context, are two completely different strikers, right? Dessers gets in the way of everything and Danilo doesn't. Right? One of them smart, one of them isn't. Is the way I see it. What's your thoughts on the big man after yesterday? Missed an open goal as well.
He missed an open goal. Maybe he had that chance again. He maybe put it away. Who knows? But it is Dessers after all, so we probably missed it again. But listen, I don't know whether he's trying too hard. But going back to the slide before, Scotty, we are dominating these games. We went up to Pittodrie on a difficult night, a Wednesday night. The atmosphere up there was very, very hostile. So it's quite a lot for those players to take in. And as you saw for the slide, we dominated the play. But if we could take our chances, a lot of this pressure would be taken away from us, but we're just not taking our chances. We just are not good enough in the final third. Now, whether that's because, whether it's Dessers, he's trying too hard, he's been isolated because of the system, the wingers, are constantly injured, we're not getting any continuity, whether it's, I'd love to see Jeffrey down there while Cortes is out. But we've got Bajrami there at the moment, and I think that boy's playing out of position. But it's quite exciting to have, if we had our wingers, to both Danilo and Hadji back in that side, with Bajrami, the kind of three there is your potent three, not all going to be the same in the same team at once, but they're fantastic football players, the three of them I just mentioned. And if you've got Czerny at one side and Cortez, whoever it may be, is left down the left-hand side, because I say Cortez, whoever it may be, because we don't really know. I've got high hopes for the boy. I think he's going to be a very talented player if he can stay bloody fit. So, you know, the pod suggests, are we as bad as we make out we are? If we've got a full team fit and they're all up for it, we're a bloody good side. You know, and there's no reason why, you know, the panic should be setting in. It is a rebuild, and we all know that. But this is where it takes us back to the manager for me. It's the stubbornness. You play to your strengths. Now, going back to what you were saying earlier on about the three boys in midfield, just the formation, it certainly was when Dessers was on the park, Lawrence playing as a 10. When Lawrence went off injured, and again, Lawrence is starting to, you know, he just hasn't got the fight for Rangers, you know, wee bit of pressure and the boy goes down injured, and, you know, what happened to the day of just getting up and running these injuries off? I mean, I've seen it years and years and years. I mean, I've played football all my life, you know, the amount of times you get injured, you get up, you run it off, you know, that magic spray. It just doesn't happen nowadays, does it? I don't understand why. You know, it's 9 times out of 10 somebody goes down, and that's well, certainly in the Rangers journey, they tend to be taken off and they're replaced. For me, Lawrence just hasn't got the stamina to be a Rangers player. I think he hides too much, and it's a shame because he's a talented player. But too many times he's taken an injury and he always takes easy option, and I'm off. And that's an indictment of him. Maybe I'm being a little bit too overcritical, but I'm just fed up of players like Lawrence who just won't play for the jersey. And that's why I'm excited to see Hadji back, because Hadji will fight and fight and fight. And with that brain that he's got and the skill that he's got, he'll be a player for us, especially when we get our two wingers up and running. Good options in the final third.
Yep, I need to agree. Tom, where you at with the striker's situation? Obviously, there's the Dessers side again, and I'll provide you with the Danilo one. It really was night and day difference, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I say, we've all had our say on Dessers, and my last season, my frustration with him was he was just too, for the size of him, just too powder puff. We need someone who's going to take the ball in, hold it up, and bring others into play. When you're that lone striker up front, that's what you need to do. And he's just too powder puff. But at least he was getting goals, so he was contributing. Whereas this season, bar the first sort of 6-7 games, he's not been contributing anything. He should have scored that open goal, obviously, at the weekend. But again, the amount of times where he's just brushed by a player and he's down on his backside, waving his arms, complaining, or, you know, smiling. It's got to a point where it's like, get up and win that ball back. You know, do something. If you're not putting the ball in the net, if you're not playing well, put pressure on the defence, do something. But he just seemed, I don't know if he just seems a bit sorry for himself or what it is, but Danilo should be chomping at the bit to you know, he's had basically a year out where he's missed football, and he is an intelligent player. We saw it when he was in Holland. He was a very intelligent player, and I think with him, Bajrami and Czerny up front, we will see a lot more chances and a lot more goals, because, as I say, all three are very intelligent footballers who can see a pass, who can move. Dessers, as I say, Dessers just needs to, I don't know. We've seen since last season that he wasn't the man, and I think there was attempts to get him away in the summer, and it just never happened. So come January, if he's still our main striker, come the end of January, then I'll be I'd be really concerned about what Clement is seeing, because that'd be 3 transfer windows he's had to get rid of him, and he hasn't. So I just think he needs to be taken out of the team, but we need to have that replacement for him. So hopefully Danilo is now getting the minutes and can get the games.
Tomo, Dessers seems to me to be a striker that it's almost as if he needs to have the ball facing the goal. He can't turn his back, he can't hold it up. He's not that Alfredo Morelos type striker. He's one that will get in the box, create some space, and he needs to get time to hit his shot away. Now, for his goal yesterday, I think Connor Barron gives the big man the service that he actually needs to play to his strengths. Do you think that's me being, am I going too easy on him?
No, I think you're totally right. I mean, we go back to the days of Chris Boyd. You know, he couldn't play a lone striker role. That's why he never really played in Europe or against Celtic, because that was the way Walter Smith at the time liked to play, and he couldn't play on his own. There's no disgrace to that, you know. It would be interesting to see him with a partner up front. You know, unfortunately, no one plays with 2 up front anymore. But it would be good to see what would happen if there was him and, say, Danilo or Igaman up front, because I do think he occupies defenders. But when he's got that time to think about where he's putting the ball, he just seems to go to pieces. But like you say, when it's set on a plate for him like that, he hasn't got time to think about it. And it was a nice finish. So, as I say, it's horses for courses, really. He's not going to be someone who holds the ball up and brings players into it. But people go back to Cholak when we sold Cholak for Dessers. But I think Cholak was a very similar player to Dessers, but Cholak was just that little bit more clinical. I don't think Cholak could hold the ball up, run the channels, you know, like Morelos did, but he was more clinical than what Dessers is. So you gave him a chance, invariably, to stick it away. And I think that's what, if Dessers isn't doing the other things, he needs to either be just putting the ball into the net and contributing, or if he's not doing that, harass the defenders, make space for other players. And he just seems to be failing at it all at the minute. But like I say, credit yesterday, it was a really nice finish, and hopefully it'll give him a little bit of confidence.
Yep, definitely. Ricky, the team got a job done yesterday. Showed a wee bit of resilience, came back for a goal down to get us into the final. Credit where credit's due. The team that finished was Butland, Sterling, Suter, Casemiro, Jeff Day, Barron, Diamonde, Raskin, Cherney, Danilo, and Badrami. Do you think that's a team we need to see going forward?
Why not? The only one I would say would be, for me, would be Diamande. Potentially, I'd have had you in there potentially, because going back to Dessers, I mean, he took that goal ever so well. I mean, he lifted it over the goalkeeper, didn't smash it. It was quite a controlled finished, and but it wasn't a fluke. You can tell the boy meant to do it. So he's obviously got the talent to do it, but he's a scatterbrain. His intelligence is, I mean, the amount of times that, whether it's coming in from the left or to the right, he runs away from the ball rather than cutting across the goalkeeper to get that's a striker's instinct. Run across the keeper and try and anticipate that ball, and he just doesn't have the intelligence to do it. And I just think at times when you've got the coaching staff analysing these games, which I know they do, the striking sort of a coach will take them away and he'll talk about things and try and make things better. They don't seem to improve Dessers, and that's the worrying part about the coaching aspect. It doesn't improve whether his movement. He's just not really a very good football player. So hence why I'm going back to the sort of the kind of Lawrence scenario in the formation that the Clement keeps on insisting on playing. If you're going to try and get Dessers involved, you need to play a lot closer to him so he can play off somebody. Isolating that lad It's just isolating their final third. So we're not capitalising in our superiority, which you can see in the stats. We're dominating games, but not being clinical enough because we're just not clinical enough in the final third. So if you're going to play Dessers, you have to play to your strengths and get somebody a lot closer to him. And the way to do that, if you're going to continue with Dessers, is the 3-5-2. You've then got two wingers going down there. You've got a solid midfield. You've got three solid defenders, especially Ibrox, but you've got somebody playing alongside Dessers. And it can be a straight two. It could be, a 10 and Dessers. There's formation sort of play within that 3-5-2 to deal with the situation that you find yourself in the actual game itself. But if you isolate and just play Dessers in his own, then we're causing our own downfall. I mean, everybody can see it that Dessers cannot play as a single striker, but we keep on doing it. And we keep on doing it, don't we? And that's what's frustrating all the Rangers supporters, because he just isn't good enough to be playing on his own. So get somebody alongside the lad and stop hanging about to dry, or take him off the park. Don't start him, because I tell you what, the boy mentally must be so resilient, because every single he goes on there and he's getting a batter on the social media, on the park, from the fans. You think the guy would just bloody break down, wouldn't he? But it is what it is, and he needs to be taken out of the firing line at the moment, because he's certainly not good enough to be leading their line.
Fair enough. Kenneth's come in with a point saying that we lost 3 balls in there. Casemiro's not a centre half. I think he's played his trade as a centre half. Kenneth, I think he's played there for Feyenoord and FC Groningen and various clubs like that. You look at Lisandro Martinez, who plays for Man United. He's 4 nothing, and he can play centre half well enough. It's just mad. It's just my 2 bits worth. Tomo, what about you? Do you think the team that finished yesterday needs to, obviously, can he start on Thursday night because of the European squad and things like that? But do you think we might have found something that we can kind of hang on to and move forward with domestically?
Most definitely. And as I said, it's no disrespect to the Scottish League, but football nowadays, half the battle has been if you're fit and got pace, you're halfway there. And that's what we need in our team. We need basic athletes that are quick. And Lawrence doesn't bring that. Tavernier, unfortunately, his legs are going. We get fit team on the pitch who will run, their ability will then come over the other teams. That's where the likes of Motherwell, St Mirren do well against us. They're teams that are filled with big lads that are fit and can run, and they cause us issues because of that. Whereas we try to go down the playing the football route, which is great, but you need to win those battles first before you can then play with football. And I think we've been a bit guilty of not managing that. I think that's why we've been getting better results in Europe, because we're not going against teams that are flying into us, that are putting in these hard challenges. Our players are a little bit probably more built for the European game. Like you said, Robin Proper there, probably more built for playing against European teams. So I think the likes of having Casemiro, having Sterling in the team, guys that are strong, quick, that will help us out no end. And I think if Clement is obviously wanting to continue to manage Rangers, he needs to take the players out that aren't performing and bring in players who quite clearly are hungry, want to play, and are desperate to impress. So I'd be surprised if Clement went back and made too many changes, other than the ones that might be enforced, like you say, because of the European squad.
Tomo, this is our next 4 home matches. League matches, right? So we've got Hearts at home, Dundee United at home, St Johnstone away, and Kilmarnock at home. Do you think that, obviously we need to collect 12 points here? I don't think it's... But see if we do, and we pick up 12 points and we play well, do you think the narrative on Come On starts to turn?
I think so. I think, as I've said earlier, I don't think it's been as bad as what it is. But coupled in with Aberdeen's start to the season. I mean, being 9 points behind Celtic at this point isn't ideal. But being 9 points behind Aberdeen is, I think, it's getting most people's back up. We win those 4 games. I would be amazed if we're still 9 points behind Aberdeen. I think they will sort of plateau out their results now. I think we've had a good start to the season, and we will start seeing maybe more realistic results for them. I think we'll win. We should be picking up 12 points from those 4 games, from the form that those 4 teams are in, and especially with 3 of them at home. If he doesn't pick up 12 points, again, we're always 1 match away from a crisis at Rangers, aren't we? We could go win them 4 games and then lose to Celtic in the cup final, and we're back to square one. So there needs to be improvements in the performances, and obviously you win games, people are happy. That's what you want, isn't it? As supporters, you just want to win games. Ideally, you want to see great football and blowing teams away 5-6-0, but ultimately you get the 3 points. You've got a happy weekend, haven't you? You move on to the next one.
Definitely. Ricky, me and you were talking before the pod started about kicking a can down the road in terms of, come on, these 4 next matches are more than winnable if he wins them with a wee bit of style. So does the narrative change, or do you think that we are still going to be delaying the inevitable that he will leave Rangers?
Well, we're one result away from another disaster, aren't we? So that's why I say kicking the can down the road. If he wins those 4 games, which, you would expect us to go and win all 4 of those games. So there's pressure straight away from him. If he drops any points, we're back to where we were against, after the Aberdeen sort of a debacle. But then if he wins those 4 games, it takes you up to a cup final. Depending on how that goes, he could actually play well and lose it, and he's still cling to his job. We're then going to go into a transfer window very, very soon after that, which is phase 2 of his rebuild. So again, that's going to buy him time, because then the board will be behind him if he's going to start spending money. So I think this came through a period, providing he gets a result on Sunday, takes him into an international break. I think he's going to come through a period which was critical for his job. He survived it. I don't think he should have survived it. He has done, which I fully now believe he'll be given till the January transfer window.
Tom, would you give this guy more money in January to go and sign mid players?
Sorry, Scott, you cut out there a little bit. What was the question, mate?
Do you give this guy more money in January to go and sign more players? If he's still in
I think so. He's a man in the job. You've got to trust him. That's the way I see it. There are, like I said, there are players who I think we were trying to offload in the summer. Didn't quite get over the line. There were a lot of players we did get rid of, a lot of experienced players, and we've brought in players that been. I don't like using the excuse time to bed in, but we need time to get to know Rangers, the teammates, the Scottish game. It's just unrealistic to think we're going to sign 5 or 6 players. I suppose one of the more sort of galling things was when we played. I think it was Aberdeen. We played, and 8 of the players that started were players that were here last season. So we've got this rebuild, but how many are forcing their way into the team? Diomande, £4.5 million spent, not a guaranteed starter. Robin Proper, again, a couple of million there, not a guaranteed starter. We have to trust Clement, I think. And when it comes to the results, I think the fans would be a little bit more forgiving if we saw some sort of progress in terms of performances, and in terms of where we are going down this road. I say we got rid of a lot of experienced players. We knew young new players were coming in and we're willing to give them a chance. But if it's just the same old turgid thing every week, that's when he's going to struggle. But if he's in the job in January, we have to trust him with money and that he'll spend it right.
To me, if he goes out and signs a 6 and a 9, then I think you could have a much better second half of the season as to what we have the first half of the season. Anyway, Ricky, just to quickly finish up, how are you feeling now about Rangers and the managerial situation, all that kind of stuff after yesterday?
Well, I've been harping on for a while, mate. His stubbornness is the thing that's getting us all, or certainly getting to me. We've all lost patience with his ability to just grind us down, and we're all screaming for just some sort of a impetus, some sort of an injection into the team, whether that's a system change, a personnel change. We've got the players to do it, but he just won't do it. Having said that, his second half yesterday, I was very, very pleased with the way the game finished. We've got players to come back, and if we can just try and continue that sort of a pattern of play that we did show in the latter half, or the second half mainly, against Motherwell, then we've got nothing to fear. But we need to get on the front foot. And again, when was the last time we consistently played for 90 minutes in a game? And that's key. We need to try and get that out of every single player, not just 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes there. We need 90 minutes of high energy, high intensity football, which will win the day. And we proved in that second half yesterday, we are a good team when we want to play. And to me, Clement's got to take responsibility for that, because when he stifles us, when we become this boring football to watch, it's down to him, because his tactics, nobody else's. We've got the players, utilise them, and get a system going that we can all be excited and get behind. And he'll survive it. If the punters will give him the benefit of the doubt if he shows a little bit of, give and take, and try and play to his strengths with the personnel we've got, not just on the field of play, but using the bench as well, which I think in previous sort of games he's just not shown that, and that's why people have had enough of him. But if he starts winning games, then he buys himself time, doesn't he?
Rookie mistake. Tomo, you want to sum up your kind of final thoughts and just generally how you're feeling about the team and the club just now?
Yeah, I think we've got to another cup final. That can't be taken away. We are the current holders of that trophy, so it'll be nice to get another day out at Hampden and a chance to defend it. But the league is the bread and butter. It's all well and good putting in performances here and there, especially in Europe, where even against Lyon, when we lost 4-1, I don't think we played that badly in the game. I just thought their centre forwards were brilliant and clinical, and ours weren't. But in the league, we need to just start getting consistency, getting a run of games with wins, and showing some of the performances. We're coming into a period now where, coming into the winter period, very unforgiving. It's going to say a lot about the players that we've got now. See what they're made of, if they're up for the fight. But I've always been in the camp of we can't just keep sacking managers. Of this cycle will just keep continuing. A new manager will come in. He'll want his new players. He'll want his own players, and we'll be sat here unless he somehow pulls off a miracle and gets 7 or 8 players that hit the ground running. We'll be here again in a year's time. So I think we just need to hold our nerve, be a bit patient, and trust Clement. I say he made a couple of big calls on Sunday. I do believe that he's willing to make those calls in other games. So let's see how it goes. But certainly in the league, we need to start being a bit more consistent. And those 4 games that you've put up there before, it's a great start. There should be no excuse really for dropping points in those games. That's not being arrogant, but I just think we should be beating those teams on current form, and 3 of them being at home.
Yep, definitely. I was firmly in the get come on out camp. But yesterday, and after watching the highlights back today and looking at it with a kind of fresh set of eyes, it looks as if it's maybe changing. It's gave me something to kind of cling on to. I think as long as Tom Lawrence, Tav, and Dessers not stay out of the starting lineup, but don't have as much of a say in terms of starting and playing games, then I think we could be okay. I thought athleticism. You've seen it with John Sterling yesterday, lads. Like getting back and make that tackle. Tav can't do that anymore. He's not getting mileage in the legs for it. There was several crosses where the ball bobbled in front of Tav yesterday and he missed an open goal. It's just not going for him just now, and I do think he needs a spell out of the team. Desser's a big man. As resilient as he is, right, he's dead on. He is really resilient in terms of what he puts up with. He's just his ability is just a wee bit missing. I just think Tom Lawrence doesn't get the legs to, like we've seen in the previous slides, to do this, to get close to each other, to make passes. That just goes for. That's a simple Raskin pass to Dio, and Barron sprints it through Ridley Park, and it's just a ball into Cherney, and it just causes carnage. It's just movement. It's basic, easy movement, and I think that kind of thing's going to help. Come on, I think we will get a result on Thursday. I think it'll be a good performance and maybe a draw. But anyway, that'll let us wrap up for tonight, lads. Ricky, thanks for joining me, mate.
No, thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Tomo. I enjoyed that, mate. It's an hour going well. So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and looking forward to Thursday night. And here's hoping that we can continue what was a great performance, especially in the second half yesterday. But thanks for tonight, guys.
No problem, mate. Thanks for joining us. Tomo, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem, Scott. Thanks again for having me. Always a pleasure, and always a pleasure talking about Rangers. And looking forward to Thursday night, and hopefully we'll get a result. And I agree with you, Scott. I think we will put in a performance and get at least a point.
That's it. Anyway, I'm going to record a kind of free transfer video over the next couple of days, just to see who we could potentially look at in January, and that'll bring us an end to our pod. We'll be back tomorrow night. Just another last wee bit of news. The Ibrox channel has agreed to come and join us here at the Rangers Journal, which everybody's absolutely buzzing about. So thanks to them for coming to join us, and welcome, obviously, Andrew and crew. So we're back tomorrow night, and we'll see you then. Okay, cheers, guys. Bye bye.